Link, now you're gonna feel a little discombobulated from the chrono shift. Don't worry about it.
Wait a second. Let me ask you something. If we can do this, go back in time, why don't we just, find baby Ganondorf and, take him out?
Firstly, that's horrible, and second, who told you that idea would work?
Star Trek, Terminator, Time Cop, Time After Time,
Quantum Leap,
A Wrinkle in Time, Somewhere in Time,
Hot Tub Time Machine,
exactly. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, basically any movie that deals in time travel.
Die Hard? No, that's not one.
Look, this is known.
Look, I don't know why everybody believes that, but that isn't true. Think about it. If you travel to the past, that past becomes your future, and the former present becomes the past, which can't now be changed by your new future.
Exactly.
So, time traveling's just a bunch of...
Hey everyone, Happy New Year's! It's me, Thinkafurr, and I'm back to kick off the year with another theory that honestly still leaves me thinking, even after writing the script. When playing The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time as a child, I always had a question I wanted answered, one that, to this day, is asked in the Zelda community quite frequently still. How in the world did the Song of Storms exist in the adult timeline when Link never knew it in the child timeline? Just what the heck is going on here? Well, strap yourselves in and get cozy, thinkers, because it's time for a thought process that's been, almost 23 years in the making.
Oh god, I'm getting old!
So diving right in, let's just start by explaining the Song of Storms paradox. Link, as an adult, learns the Song of Storms in the adult timeline from a man named Guru, who claims 7 years ago a child with an ocarina, in other words child Link, played the Song of Storms. This caused the windmill to spin chaotically, and that is why Guru knows it and can teach adult Link the song. This is a paradox because adult Link never knew the Song of Storms and never knew it as a child either. What's more, this kind of paradox has a name, a Bootstrap Paradox, a paradox with no discernible origin. But what if there was an origin point that caused the Bootstrap Paradox to exist? We know that Link was sent back to the child timeline prior to the Master Sword being touched or Zelda leaving the castle because he returns to warn Zelda, thus causing the events in the child timeline to play out differently. However, Link at this point of time did not create the Bootstrap Paradox. He was still merely a part of it. I believe instead that there was more than one Link existing in the child timeline and that it wasn't simply two, but actually instead 3. I know. It's pretty crazy to suggest, right? But hey, that's what theories are all about, theorizing things that could have been. So before anyone gets ahead of me in the comment section, just hear out what I've got to say next about how it's possible for more than one Link to exist in the child timeline before you decide to make up your own minds. Alright, so if there is multiple Links existing, then who are they? And, well, more importantly, where are they and what are they doing in the child timeline? Well, to start with, remember how Link is sent back in time by Princess Zelda? Often, we think she created the timeline split, but actually it was Link who split the timelines when he touched the Master Sword and was sealed for 7 years. Regardless of who created the timeline splits, or dimensional splits, each dimension or timeline created always will contain the same things or people in it. And Link is no exception to this rule. So, when Zelda sent our victorious hero, Link, who was in adult form, back to the child timeline to relive his child years, this, thinkers, is how the many Links would have come to be. The second Link is the one that naturally exists in the child timeline. This Link has yet to meet Zelda, and will inevitably watch the Deku Tree die after he frees the Great Deku Tree from the curse and is then thrust upon Hyrule Castle to meet the princess. This Link will then go on to Kakariko Village and have a friendly chat with the Windmill Man Guru Guru and move on. In other words, the second Link is the one that is just starting out on his quest. Now, at the same point in time this first Link exists, there is another Link. This one is the Link we see defeating Ganon, then is returned to the child timeline and will go on to warn Zelda and the royal family of Ganondorf's betrayal before it happens, thus causing the child timeline to play out differently. This is the Link who is left by Navi and will eventually travel to Termina. Now, here is the ultimate kicker, and it's a little complicated to explain, but I'll try my best. At the same point in time as both Link 1 and Link 2 existing in the child timeline simultaneously, we have a third Link. This Link exists before Link 1 warns Zelda, and after Link 2 has spoken with Guru Guru. Now I hear you all asking, how's that possible? How can a third Link exist in the middle of all this? Well, it's simple. The third Link is, or was, the Link we play as during Majora's Mask, a Link who had succeeded in defeating Ganon once already and had saved the land of Termina, and with the time-altering powers of the Ocarina of Time, had traveled back to this exact point of time to place, rather tactfully, the Song of Storms in the hands of the Windmill Man, Guru Guru, thus causing the butterfly effect to happen across all timelines, both downfall, child, and adult. But why Majora's Mask Link? Well, here's the thing. The origin of the Song of Storms harkens to that of the lands of Termina. Two composer brothers, Flat and Sharp, were masters of the art of music and magic. One composer brother, Flat, created the Song of Storms to symbolize his sadness for losing his brother Sharp and also his anger towards Sharp for his betrayal. Perhaps after learning this song and freeing the lands of Termina, this version of Child Link realized that if he didn't travel back in time with the Ocarina of Time and set up Guru Guru with the Song of Storms, he would never have created the events required for him to be successful in the adult timeline, as without it, he couldn't get the Lens of Truth in the well or see the many different hidden secrets of the Shadow Temple. Now, on a tangential side note, perhaps within the adult timeline, this is where the downfall timeline had occurred. Perhaps Link died because he couldn't unlock the Sage of Shadows in the downfall timeline, and thus lost to Ganon as he lacked the power of one final Sage and died. This is something I'd like to come back to later on, but if you're interested, there's a link in the top right corner to a video Kotlol made covering it. Go check it out after the video. Hey, this is me from the future dropping past with my ocarina here, because me that was then in the past who wrote this script forgot to explain two really important points here. First off, how did Link number 3 complete his entire quest run if he didn't know the Song of Storms to drain the well so he could get the Lens of Truth, defeat Bongo Bongo, and free the Sage of Shadows? Well, funnily enough, you can actually beat the Shadow Temple and Bongo Bongo without the Lens of Truth. And if that doesn't satisfy you, may I present to you a line from the strange old man in Kakariko Village. In particular, he states two facts. You can train your mind's eye to see things that are hidden, and also, curiously, that a person once existed carrying an item that let them see the truth without training. This is yet another occurrence of the Bootstrap Paradox, interacting with another NPC. But how? Firstly, Link 3, a link from a timeline we never see, beat the Shadow Temple originally by training his mind's eye with the old man. Then when he reached Termina, he found the Lens of Truth and realized now that he can time travel, he might be able to create a new timeline in which he emerges victorious, but in a different way. Maybe, and I stress maybe, perhaps he wanted to create a victorious timeline where he wasn't sent back by Zelda, but instead stayed in the adult timeline so he could live out his life as the hero and finally be acknowledged for his many deeds. So, with that motive in mind, Link 3 hatched a plan to return, which went sort of like this. Link would use the Ocarina to travel back in time. He would then hide the Lens of Truth in the well by draining it with the Song of Storms, and once he buried it, he filled the well again and left a clue for his past self by showing the old man the Lens of Truth so that new information would exist in the timeline so that it would be found by his past self. In hindsight of all this, it's ironic in the saddest of ways because from what we all see from the lore established in the games and timelines, it didn't change the outcome in any of the new timelines that would spawn from his actions. Anyway, that tangent aside, it's my hypothesis that this particular child Link from Majora's Mask is the one responsible for causing a subtle but very important shift in the events across all timelines. How is this possible though? Well, the crazy thing is that alternate timelines can exist at any point, and it's more than likely the case that these events could have been happening all at the same time in an alternate timeline, or events of the future occurred at the same time, strangely enough, as the events in the past. The child timeline and the adult timeline were simultaneously created the moment Child Link touched the Master Sword, and this is the only version of the Hero of Time who is capable of traveling to different timelines, speeding up time, slowing down time, and also capable of closed-loop time travel. A kind of time travel where one can actually shift their way through the events of the same timeline. It's all pretty crazy and complicated, but it's all entirely possible. One other question I want to ask is, which one of the three Links dies and becomes the hero's shade? Well, for those of you who followed the Zelda series since 1998, oh boy, I'm starting to feel old again. Anyway, for those of you who have, the answer might be a bit obvious as to who it is, but for those of you who haven't, well, it's the Link from Majora's Mask. Anyway, it's not necessarily which Link I'm concerned with, but more how Link number 3 became the hero's shade. So strap in and get ready, because this gets a little rambly. Swapping Link 1 and 2 around. When Link number 2 returns to warn Zelda, he leaves to seek Navi and ends up becoming the same hero who would inevitably travel to Termina. Link number 2 hasn't even reached the same point as Link number 3, and Link number 1 is just only starting out his adventures. This means that Link number 3, the one that already defeated Majora, saved Termina, and learned the Song of Storms, that we theorized is the one who returned to set up the Bootstrap Paradox, is the Link who, after placing the Song of Storms in the timelines, is the last Link that lingers on, likely to grow up and eventually serve as a knight to Zelda and become the legendary cursed swordsman, only to one day pass away from unknown causes and return as the hero's shade. But perhaps I'll save that for another theory. And I'm pretty much stretched for time in this video, so what do you all think? Is there really 3 links? Or is there an infinite loop of links? Which link do you think caused the Bootstrap Paradox? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you don't miss out on new theories and videos. Also, if you want to watch more of my videos, check out the link in the top right corner of the screen. Oh, and real quick, but if you want to support the channel, feel free to drop past the merch store where you can purchase any of these awesome shirts designed by my lovely and wonderful partner who pretty much makes all the art for my channel at this point. Anyway, if you love what you saw and you want one, head down to my online store over on teespring.com, and also be sure to share some of that love further by following my partner's art over on Instagram at ElfspringArt. Love ya, Elfie. Alrighty, all that said and done, I'm gonna head out and go get to writing the next theory video. I'll see you all in the next video, thinkers. Bye-bye.